Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back having a look at the BR changes that are coming in, the planned BR changes I should say, for the next major updates. Sorry I'm not doing like heavy editing with this one. By the way, if you prefer me like doing it like this, so like kind of showing you the stuff on the screen as well, let me know because I can do it like this in the future. But basically, we just finished all like the Twitch drop streams. I'm pretty tired. I prefer to do it like this, and then we'll get into like the heavy editing stuff later on. So in this video, we're going to go over the air realistic changes. We're going to go over the ground realistic changes for aircraft. And then also we'll have a look at the balance changes too in tow. So those will be kind of the major factors. Basically, they are decompressing stuff again. So at the top tier, you can see all of the vehicles that are really good are getting decompressed. This is positive. You know, this is really good. This is what they should do. So, you know, I hope people don't have like any issues with this. But yeah, stuff like the Eurofighter, for example, which, you know, is like over here or like on the left-hand side, or, you know, the ones which are in like the British tree that I still need to like research, the Typhoon and things like that. All of these vehicles are going up to 14.3, including the Rafale and also the Su-30SM. So that kind of tells you which vehicles are kind of performing well at the highest echelon of the game. So that's good, right? Like they're basically saying these are performing really well compared to everything else. Put them up in BR. So decompression. Everybody loves decompression. This is great. So good stuff. Also, they're moving up some other vehicles, which is kind of interesting, such as the F-16As. So the ADF, the ADF Italy, and the MLU for China. Now, you may be wondering, like, why are they, like, sticking these up so far? Like, you have, like, the MLU here, right? So they're giving these things AMRAAMs. So that's why they're going from 12.7 to 13.3. So would just change to air there. And because right now, all of these vehicles, they have AIM-7Ms, and then they also have access to AIM-9Ls, or at least this one does. So basically, that's what's keeping them at 12.7 outside of the top bracket. But Gadget has decided that these three vehicles will have access to AMRAAMs. So they're obviously going to go up in BR. So if you want to spade them now to get them ready for that, it might be worth doing during this event, because these changes will probably come in like a week or 2 weeks. And yeah, that will mean that these vehicles were in a very, very positive position at that time when you kind of grind them out. But yeah, so kind of interesting to see that they're doing that. It will mean that these vehicles will struggle more when they are stock because of the fact that you have to grind out the AMRAAMs, but maybe they'll give them some stock AMRAAMs to make it a little bit easier. The Mirage 2000s are also going up, basically from 13.7 to 14.0. I kind of see this as just a general decompression thing once again, since they're not like adding anything to them. Basically, the 5F that you see here, and then the other one, they do have access to the Mees, and then also access to a lot of other missiles that are around the place, such as the Magic 2s, which, by the way, Magic 2s are just insane right now. Like, it's so annoying having to deal with them all. But yeah, that's more lower BRs, like with the F1C and stuff like that. You have to pre-flare them, and yeah, it's just a mess. But these going up, as I said, just kind of a sign of the decompression. That's kind of what happens when they put up the new BR. So yeah, these were obviously performing very well at 13.7. Therefore, you chuck them up at 14.0, but they're not performing as well as the 14.3s. So that's why you just put them up slightly. Not too surprising. The Su-34 is in the same bucket, basically going from 13.3 to 13.7. So there's not really a lot to kind of discuss in terms of this. It's just decompression, right? And decompression basically means when you increase the kind of BR range, everything gets to like move around in their like subsequent BR ranges. So if anything kind of like goes up by one, that usually means that that vehicle was doing very well at its BR, but it wasn't doing well enough beforehand to go up in BR. But with the decompression now, it can go up in BR, right? So that's happened a lot in ground recently. That's happened a lot in air recently. It's happened, well, in naval, right? Like with the addition of 8.7, they've really kind of gone ham with it. So they've really like opened up the windows and just gone, yep, have at it. So all very positive. A vehicle which is going up in BR, as well in air, is this little How would I class this? This little shit, I think, is probably the way that I'd want to put it. So the Ayit, which is right here, this vehicle is at 10.0 in ground and 9.3 in air. The reason why it's 10.0 in ground is because it has access to the walleyes and also has access to goddamn Mavericks at 10.0. So it's very, very good. It also has the GBU8s and also the AGM62s. What it also has is a really annoying thing. So what they did with this vehicle is they gave it access to custom secondary loadouts. And what this meant is you could run a ridiculously annoying kind of setup on it. So in air at 9.3. So, right, recently I've been playing some vehicles at 9.3. Yesterday, I actually spaded the Hunter F58, right? This thing, it has two AIM-9Es, the CWAs, as they're known in Swiss service, but it doesn't have any countermeasures. It is not supersonic. It's, it struggles in a lot of areas like that, but we did pretty good in it. It was okay. Like everything went pretty well. But no countermeasures against very, very annoying missiles. The good old Ayit, which is exactly the same BR as it, once again, 9.3 in air realistic. This vehicle has access to 4 missiles, a Shafrir 2, which they buffed. I don't even remember when. Maybe maybe a year ago or so, or maybe a year after. So this is actually better than the AIM-9E, and also AIM-9Ds, which are the criminally kind of underrepresented missile in the game, or ones which people just don't think are very good. They have a close seeker head, but they have a hell of a burn time. They have a hell of a motor on it, which means that you can fire them from miles away compared to the other ones, and you can just hammer things. And whenever you're playing around this BR, you'll see like 3 or 4 or 5 of these in the battles, and they're always getting multiple kills because they have countermeasures, they have the improved engine, and they also just have 4 really good missiles for the BR, better than pretty much anything else that's there. This thing being 9.3 is criminal, and the fact that they're finally putting it up in a realistic after they gave it these custom loadouts is very positive. Because before the custom loadouts, you could only bring 4 Shafrir 2s, which once again is pretty good, but also at the same time, the problem with the Shafrir 2 was it was in its pre-buff state, and it was basically like an AIM-9B. So it wasn't anywhere near as good as what it is now. But now that you can bring along the AIM-9Ds along with them, plus if you want a gun pod, which you don't need because I think this thing has an internal gun. But yeah, it's just insane. It has 2 internal guns, the Defers. So yeah, this one was just nuts, and it still is nuts. It also has a really low heat signature. So against other missiles, it's very good at dodging them. So this taking a long time to go up is a problem, and it should have happened a long time ago, especially after the custom weapon changes, but at least it's happening now. The Yak 28 is going down. They nerfed it into the ground due to historical reasons. So yeah, there's not really a lot to kind of say about this. It also suffers from the fact that they made that sweeping change about these things, which basically means that they don't get access to the airborne, so they have to kind of take off. But this thing only has chaff now. It has no flares, so it can't defend itself. And also, they took away its CCIP, so it literally, yeah, it just lost. It lost 2 key components on why you use this thing. So obviously, losing 2 key components is going to mean it's going to go down in BR, right? I still wonder if they'll ever add the interceptor version of this thing. It does look really cool and it has some funny missiles on it, but yeah, not sure that it will. The Seahawks are going up in BR finally. So if you didn't know, the Seahawks are kind of funny. So they're ATOs. You have this one, right? The Mark 100 for Germany. Then you have the one for France, which is in this area of the tech tree, the Mark 50, which is right here. Both of these things have AIM-9Bs at 8.0. I think they might be the lowest vehicle in the game which have access to missiles. So if you are starting off in jets, if you're in like an ME-262, you can fight one of these things and you can get missiled and also gunned down. And that is your welcome to jets moment. Um, the fact that these things have stayed so low for so long has been hilarious to me, because of the fact that if you have a look at the British one, which is in the standard tech tree, the Seahawk FGA, this one is the same BR, but it doesn't get access to the missiles. so, so literally, it's either do you buy the premium ones from either France or Germany, which are just better versions of this one, or do you just play this one in the tech tree? It was like a proper just pay to win thing, and it's been like that for ages. But yeah, they're finally changing that, so that's good, I suppose. Like this one, I suppose, gets like extra armaments that you'll never use, so there's that. But yeah, it just doesn't get the thing that people actually use these things for in air. The Seahawk, I know it sounds really weird, but it actually flies really nice. Like once you get the upgrades on it, and since it's the premium ones going up in BR, you already have the upgrades, right? But it floats through the air. It's very maneuverable. It has the 420mm Hispanos with a ton of rounds, so you have a lot of longevity in the battle, and it flies very similar to stuff like the Vampire and the Venom, which are other British vehicles that never go down in BR and only go up because people decide to turn fight them, and then they lose the turn fight, and then they're like, how did that happen? And it's like, because you shouldn't turn fight these things. The Seahawk's in the same position. Like, I mean, I can't remember when I spaded it, but it was a long time ago. When I did this one, but you can see here, like this was our stats, and this was stock to spaded. So just like all my vehicles. So 18 battles, 60%, 67% win rate, 49 air kills to 7 deaths. That's because people just kept turn fighting. And if you're getting a premium version of this with missiles, yeah, it should go up in BR. So it's not really surprising at all to me that that's kind of gone on. So let's talk about some other changes. The next set of changes, which you can see right here, these are the ground changes that they're doing. So the aircraft which are going down in ground. So once again, Yak 28B continues its fall from grace. But it's going down again. It does have the funny bomb, so you can sling it somewhere, but it just lost too many factors, right? Like it's so much worse than it was, and obviously that's just made it very, very sad to play. So the other thing is you have to rely on this now. Before it had like the X on the bomb because it had the CCIP, but you still have the mega bomb. So you basically use it like you do the IL-28, for example, which also, by the way, has like a mega bomb. So it's basically the same. It's still going to be at 8.7, so it's still going to be higher than stuff like this. But yeah, this one uses the Fab 3000 M54, and this one uses the Fab 3000 M46. So this is like the more modern version of it, but you basically use them for the same roles. So yeah, this one's going down again. F4C is going down. I mean, sure. Like, all right. Maybe there's something I'm missing. It has bullpups, but yeah, they're not as good as they used to be. It does also have access to all the bombs, so you can just like bomb run it. But it going down in BR, I don't think it's gonna really change anything. It's not like in ground there's like a really positive 9-7 lineup, is there? There isn't a single vehicle at 9.7. There's sorry. Maybe you're an XM8 aficionado. Maybe you're an XM8 just like God, and you're like, oh man, I can't. Now I have the XM8 and the F4C combo. Now we're fully cooking with gas. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, 9.7 already has the Harrier, so, and the Harrier has access to CCIP. On the bombs and the rockets, and yeah, you have some quite nice loadouts. I don't think the F4C gets that. So yeah, the one thing I will say is, oh no, it does get CCIP. Okay, all right, so you can use it as a bomb truck. As like an air-to-air vehicle, you can also do it for that too. Like you could run with the AIM-7Ds and the AIM-9Es, and with the changes they're bringing in, like maybe that'll help, but yeah, it won't make a big difference, I don't think. The Su-17 is also moving down, which is good because it's worthless in ground. The Su-7 17M2 has a crippling problem, and it is the fact it doesn't have countermeasures, and it's absolutely massive. So there's no reason to really take it, because when you use a vehicle like this, you basically just use it as a way to either chuck the massive rockets at people or the bombs, and that can work. You do also have like the KH-25s, I suppose, so maybe they want to try and promote people using those, but they're a lot harder to use on a vehicle like this because of the optics, since they're laser guided, and the optics on this thing are just abysmal. But yeah, it can't defend itself because it doesn't have any countermeasures, which I spaded this thing recently in air. It's awful. Like, it's really, really bad. So seeing it go down in ground, fair enough. Will it see more play? Maybe. Like, 9.7 is a BR for ground for these guys, unlike America. So maybe it sees play. Like, you do have some vehicles around that BR that you can bring it along with. And then in air, do you have any like 9.7 vehicles? Apart from, I suppose, the MiG-21S? No? Okay, so yeah, maybe it gets in. Do you use it over these helicopters? Probably not, especially over this one. By the way, this one is a sleeper. This one's really powerful because it has like the Sturms at this BR, and then also it has like a lot of defenses. But shh, don't let anybody know about that. You're not allowed to tell anybody about that, okay? Just just as a point. Su-25 BM's going down. I've got to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience in that vehicle. Gaijin, when it came to like event vehicles, started giving them to CCs for free, and it meant that they started spading them for free, basically. So I ended up just not playing them because I just spade vehicles, right? They've stopped doing that now. So, well, I don't know if they've stopped doing it, but they've stopped doing it for me. So now I'm back to spading them. This one has the dumb, annoying TE KH-29, which is pretty good. It also has the R-73, which is very annoying. And it does also have like all of the other things that make Su-25s annoying. So I don't really understand why this one wouldn't be performing as well as the others. Maybe because it doesn't have the optic. Maybe that's the thing that's kind of slowing it down, like not having the optic and instead having to rely on different systems. But yeah, this one's going down in BR2, so you'll probably see this a bit more. 10.7, once again, like, what is 10.7 for Russia? Like the T80B, I suppose? And then, oh, well, you got the Tungi as well. All right, okay, yeah, you got a line up there. Moderna as well, 292. Yeah, because whenever I think about Soviet, I think about 10.3, because you got the 2S38, the Terms, the T80UD, and then also like these two. But now they do have a 10.7. Like that can work well. So yeah, well, maybe it'll see more play now, instead of before where you just kind of use other things, which is more likely in there. They also just don't have another 10.7. So all right, okay, we'll see how it does. I'm not really against any of these changes. It's just more, I don't really understand why. Like maybe they're just trying to add vehicles to different nations to try and make them function a bit better. Like maybe that's the idea of what they're going for, and that's fine. Like, you know, that can work pretty well. I've got absolutely no issues with them trying to actually add in stuff to lineups if they need to be added, right? Does that make sense? I'd actually prefer them to give that a go instead of just doing everything on efficiency metrics, because that basically means that's why a lot of the AAs right now in ground are just all over the place. So in terms of balance changes, so these are ones without BR changes. You have the NF5A for France. I'm pretty sure this is the premium, isn't it? Yeah, it's the premium. So what they're doing with this one is they're changing its countermeasures. So basically, the number of countermeasures has been reduced from 60 plus 30. They're changing it to 30 plus 15. So they're halving it. Okay. It still should be fine. I don't know. Like, you didn't really need 90 countermeasures to start with. Yeah, so 45 should be fine. The F5s burn really, really... They don't give off a big heat signature, so it's really easy to flare missiles off. So 45 at this BR that it's at will be completely fine. Like if it fires off in twos, which I'm pretty sure it does, it will be good. Like that's basically 20 missiles that you can dodge. You don't. The thing about the F5 and its survivability, it's just more about the person paying attention to when fire the flares. So even if this thing had like 10 flares or like 20 flares, it would be fine. Just means that you can't spam them as much, but you shouldn't be spamming them anyway. Like you should be just with the F5 because of its speed and its energy retention in a turn, especially while curving down. You only need to fire like one set and you're good. Especially since, as I said, super low heat signature on this. So yeah, that'll be all right. The F104s, interestingly, they're actually buffing and in a very positive way, and they should do this for a lot of other vehicles too. The F104s, many of them are just in really awkward places right now. So basically, the F104J, so that's the Japanese one, which is right here. Then you have the F104A and also C, and then F104G for Germany. They're basically making it easier to get the missile modifications. So basically, the reason why they're at their BRs is because of the missile modifications. And as you can see with the G, you have to grind through all the way to rank 4 in order to get the actual missiles that you want to use. The F104J is probably the most criminal of all of these, but I mean, I hope they don't forget about the Chinese one, because like the Chinese one has the same issue. So could we maybe move these two to like rank 1 to 3 instead of 2 to 4? Yeah, I hope. Just don't forget about this one, please. But the Japanese one, which is right here, I spaded it last event, so not this event, but the one before. The problem with this is like you start off with 2 AIM-9Bs. You are at 10-3 in air, okay? So you are facing stuff at 11-3 or 11-0 that has like 6 R60Ms, like the MiG-21 bis, or let's say the J-37, where you have the pretty strong, missiles on that. You have the sky flashes, basically, right? Like, and you have no way of defending yourself apart from speed, which when you stock, you don't have. Things are just faster than you, and you only have 2 AIM-9Bs. So until you get to rank 4 and unlock the AIM-9Ps, which are very similar to the AIM-9Js, by the way, you are not really combat effective, because AIM-9Es are also not great at this BR. AIM-9Es are more of a 9-3, 9-7 thing, and this thing's a 10-3 because of its speed and because of the fact it gets access to these 6 missiles. And these things just don't have countermeasures. The F104G does for Germany and also for Italy. It doesn't get them for the Chinese one. That one just kind of gets screwed. So the fact that they're making these things easier to grind is great. They should also make it so their stock things are better. So for example, for this vehicle, just give it access to 2 AIM-9Ps instead of AIM-9Bs. Kind of what they've done with a lot of vehicles, right? So it just suffers a bit less. Because once you get it spaded, it's still worthless. It's not a vehicle you should play, but it's at least better than what it could be. Like when I played a lot of these F104s, like you can see with the Japanese one, we had like not bad stats, but if you actually compare the amount of battles that we played in them, you can see like the difference, right? So in the F104J, we had to play very sheepishly. So we ended up with 85 kills in 47 battles. Whereas with the F104G for Italy or the F104G for Germany, you can see how many more kills we have per battle. Like literally that's like a 3-to-1 in the Italian one, and basically like a 2.5-to-1 with the German one. Whereas with the F104J, we're just less than a 2-to-1. And that just shows how more defensive you have to play because you don't have the countermeasures. But these vehicles obviously should have access to easier grinds. I've said it many times. One of the problems that we have in kind of air right now is a lot of these vehicles are as hard as to grind as these top ones. So until they address that, it's fine. It's kind of hard to like grind through these. So for example, the A7E at 10.7, it's 228,000 RP, right? If you compare that to like the F15, which is at 312, it's like 100 more. So that's like, all right, right? Because, the difference. But if you go over to like, let's say America, and you have a look at like the F111, for example, this one you need 297,000 RP to research through all of its stuff. Whereas if you have a look at, I don't know, the F15C, it's 325. So the difference is 30k, which is nuts between these two vehicles, right? Or even like the F15, 314, and then, 297. Or even like the A10, 298. So between these, it's like 10k to fully modify them. Are you going to play like the F15E, or are you going to play, the F111F? It's just nuts. But yeah, that's something which isn't in these changes. I don't think there's been any changes for the economy side of things apart from like these, and that's fine. Hopefully we get economy changes too. Overall, I think these are fine. We're getting a bit more decompression. We're getting a bit more kind of changes to things. I don't see any of these as negative. There's none that don't make any sense to me. It'd be nice if we got a few mid-tier changes for ground RB for aircraft, because there are quite a lot which are quite dominant right now. So pumping them up might be a good idea, but who knows? Maybe we'll see that in the future. Let me know what you think, and as always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.